How do you stop cringing at your embarrassing past? I've learned to ignore the feeling and move on when I know it's coming. Everyone is too busy with their own shit to care about yours to remember all the things you've said or done. That's a very important point. How many of us spend time remembering other people's journeys into cringedom? I went to a friend's house for a very small day get together and proceeded to get drunk and obnoxious. I talked to my friend. Host day it was about 7 to 8 years later and apologized. She didn't even remember it. We obviously beat ourselves up more than others do. Think of your 5 most embarrassing moments. Now think of your best friend's 5 most embarrassing moments. I bet that thinking of your own came really quickly, but thinking of your friend's took a while. And for a colleague or acquaintance you might not be able to think of any, even though they will all be able to think of their own 5 embarrassing moments, just as quickly as you thought of yours. Basically, these little things aren't a big deal, even though your brain will try to trick you into thinking they are. My life got a lot less stressful when I realized that. I still lie awake in bed at night replaying awkward conversations to myself and thinking why the duck did I say that? But at least rationally I know it doesn't matter to anyone but me. I'm 31 and I still cringe over shit I did in middle school. I know in my heart that nobody else remembers that shit, but I sure do. I'm in therapy because I still beat myself up over shit I did as a child in elementary school. I cannot let shit go. Your cringe means you've grown. Must mean I've grown a lot. 'Cause man, I cringe daily and often so hard it's paralyzing. Don't anybody point out that typo. Close bracket. The chaos of the present. Ha ha ha. When the cringy memories come up, let them come up. Remember them from start to finish, even if it's a bit painful to do so. Experience all the feelings they bring up and work through those feelings. Write them down in a journal, maybe even confess them anonymously on Reddit. Grow and change in reaction to them, and then you can let go of the memories. Eventually you internalize that the past is in the past, and you're free, as long as you actually grow and move on to new, different embarrassing moments. Joke about it, then say, that's nothing, hold my beer, then proceed to outdo your former self, because progress is what we strive for. This is the way. The only thing I've ever heard that made sense was, pretend it was happening to someone else. A friend you know. Would you be so hard on them if it was someone else? Because unless it happened in the last couple of days, it really was someone else. You're not the same person. Just try your best to remember 2 things about those memories. 1. You're probably the only person on earth who actually remembers those moments of yours. Sure, there will be people who might remember 1 or 2 odd moments because they were right there when they happened. But overwhelmingly your inventory of cringe memories is out of stock in everyone else's minds. 2. If it seems cringe now, that means you've grown. And that's a good thing. Facebook memories of status updates I posted 13 years ago when I first got on that site in college are barely recognizable as me to myself now. Part 2 my favorite response so far. Cringe equals growth. It's a good thing. I just wanted to say I do this, and I hate it. But it was helpful to me to read these. Thanks everyone. I decided to face the cringe head on. I laid in bed with my eyes closed and no music on and let any horrifying memory wash over me and experienced it to the fullest. I started doing this almost daily. Anytime a cringe moment popped up, and if I was able it'd take a few moments to explore it deep. Each time I did this, the memory was no longer cringe. Sometimes, it became a story I could laugh about. It took all the power away. I started saying to myself so what? Whenever I would have a thought about when I was stupid. Who gives a shite like no one else has ever done anything dumb is another one I would say. Defend yourself against your inner bully and eventually that cringe turns to something closer to indifference. There's the trick. It's not that no one but you will ever remember the dumb shit you've done. It's that they've all done dumb shit too. So who cares? Welcome to being human. We all duck up sometimes. Just do better next time. You accept deep down that 1. It happened. 2. You can't change the past. 3. You move on. When I was 14 I jacked off and finished in the electronics aisle at Target. Now when I think of this, I cringe so hard. So I just go on my phone as a distraction from that. The department with the most cameras. Exclamation mark. Exclamation mark. Exclamation mark. Exclamation mark. Thank you for sharing LMAO. Realize that everyone does embarrassing stuff, and that I'm probably making a way bigger deal out of it than anyone else is. Oh, yes. I remember when a memory of something stupid I had said came up, and I was with this friend who had witnessed that, and when I mentioned it to her, she couldn't even remember. I started to understand that it was only me who thought what I said was embarrassing. She didn't find it embarrassing in fact. Realize and accept that no one else really has their shits all together. So life goes on. I don't have to be perfect. I just have to strive to be better than my previous self all the time. I do my best to block it all out. Try staying distracted 24/7. I recommend the opposite. Work through the memories. Experience them fully. And internalize that they're in the past now. A lot of the perpetual cringe comes from the same few bad memories rising up against your will, getting pushed down, and coming right back up again. I can't even eat as much as this would make me vomit. By making an unpredictable and exciting future to focus on, right, the best thing is to start all over. Wisdom like the phoenix. For me, usually a handful of different things work. Remind myself that everyone's got stuff they're embarrassed about. Breathe deeply and try to focus on breathing. Yes, I went through the free trial of Headspace and then stopped. So it's not exactly expert level meditation. But the basic focus on breathing thing actually works to help clear your mind. Try and focus on something else, like try and remember the lyrics to that song I heard yesterday, or go over the grocery list, or whatever. I talk about her in third person, to myself and otherwise. I don't really know her well anymore, but I love her. But God was she stupid. I love this. I have a very silly past self too. I try to force my brain to go down a humorous path to reteach my brain to associate embarrassing feelings with a funny comedic bit. I've heard some people suggest just think of the scene-filled theme along with your issue and it'll automatically become humorous. I just did that, but with different stand-up routines that I've come to enjoy over the years. Working pretty well so far. The only thing for it is keep your mind busy with other things. By trying to remember the old proverb that a man cannot step into the same river twice. The river will not be the same river, not will the man be the same man. Meaning that life keeps moving on, and we need not be stuck in the past. Eventually your memory starts to fail. It's nature's kindness. This has probably already been said, but drugs and alcohol. Just do what Trump does and create a new, exciting, embarrassing present. Accept that humans make mistakes. Forgive yourself for doing something you wish you hadn't. Talk about the lesson you learned from the cringy moment, and most importantly, let yourself get bored with punishing yourself for your imperfections. You learn from it. You can look back at who you were then and learn your vital lessons from the past, and you can look forward to the person you're trying to become. You're going to grow and change. All you have to do is accept yourself for your shortcomings and work on how you're going to improve yourself going forward. You accept it, integrate it into your personality and move on. The past is the past. Don't look back, you're not going that way. Take yourself a little less seriously and laugh it off. Learning to say who cares when you duck up or goof is not only being nice to yourself, but also lets the people you're with know that you won't judge them if they did the same thing. Close your eyes and take a deep breath. Let your head relive it in its entirety, then tell yourself it happened, but it's in the past and I've grown from it. Obviously don't close your eyes if you're driving. I never felt shame. So how can I be embarrassed? I know I'm a weird nerd. Why fight it? You don't. One day you wake up and realize you haven't thought about your embarrassing past. It'll slowly go away. Recognize no one else remembers it. When I have a memory crop up that gives me the cold sweats, I start writing a descriptive paragraph in my head of everything I see around me. I focus on being as detailed in my description as possible. It usually drives that unwanted memory back out of my head pretty quick. If you can learn something from it, it is never wasted. A lot of life is screwing up, then learning from that. That's why pencils have erasers. Opus. Everyone makes mistakes. You live with the cringe, and then you make that part of your soul forever. Some Buddhist once said, "Don't prolong the past. Don't invite the future. Don't alter your innate wakefulness. Don't fear appearances." Apostrophe. I'm not really sure on the last part, but the rest seems relevant. It's not easy to be here now, but once you get the hang of it, the world opens up, and your anxieties and neuroses become a little less prominent. There is just something genuinely peaceful about the present. There comes a time when you realize you're just tired of beating yourself up all the time. I still have cringe moments, but they're not nearly as intense or as frequent. Please click subscribe if you enjoyed this video.